Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to yet another of 10 minutes of Ozu talking. Today, we're looking at yet another game played by Ju Wenjun, and this time Anna Muzychuk, in round 9 of Norway Chess, on the women's category. Today, it was an interesting game, and we might have already a potential winner, so let's see. So Ju Wenjun is playing with the white pieces, and Anna Muzychuk is playing with the black pieces, and they were tied in points, so this game really decides a lot. Basically, if someone wins this game, then they have a high chance of winning the tournament overall. So we have knight f3, knight f6, and early on we get an English. So Ju Wenjun is known as the expert of the English. She played in the Women's World Chess Championship, she played a few rounds ago in the Norway Chess, and basically she knows the English quite well. g3 is played, g3 aims to fianchetto the bishop, castle, maybe d3 is played in the future, and the bishop develops, white gets an overall solid position. d5 aims to strike at the center, it is one of the lines. Ju Wenjun takes, fianchettos the bishop, and black takes, and already we have imbalance. We have 3 pawns against 2 pawns, so white has more central space and activity. White is feeling quite comfortable, and it's a nice position. The bishop is strong. Overall, from the opening, white is quite solid. e5 is played to limit d4. Bishop develops. d3 probably prepares c4. Rook b1. Rook b1 puts pressure on b7, and also, for now, temporarily pins the light square bishop. Queen develops. Knight falls back, opening the beautiful diagonal for the bishop. Bishop develops. When the queen developed, now the pawn is defended, and the knight changes direction. Rook, and the queen comes to a4, maybe putting some pressure. Of course, the knight guards the pawn, but in the future. Bishop comes here, creating a pin, and Ju Wenjun falls back with the knight. There is no reason to fall back with the queen straight away, because even if the knight jumps away somewhere, the queen can always go back to d1. The discovery attack doesn't lead to anything. Currently in the position, Ju Wenjun feels a little bit better. The center feels good, the bishop feels solid, but overall the position is chorish, nothing special yet. Ju Wenjun makes a battery, and the knight jumps into. This knight is very strong, it's admittedly very strong, because it's centered and it blocks the battery, the light square bishop. White could have a knight of their own on d4. Bishop develops, and the knight goes to d4. This makes perfect sense. The e2 pawn is attacked. Ju Wenjun could go for a7, but then there's takes on e2. And maybe that's not the most comfortable position to play, because of course you want the a7 pawn, but the e2 pawn is also lost. So Ju Wenjun comes back, bishop develops, rook defends, b3 to unpin the queen, so the queen can go somewhere in the future. And we have f5. f5, I believe f5 deserves an exclamation mark, because it's understanding the position completely. In this position, this side of the board is locked down. The knights are staring, the bishop is staring, and you can play where the king has castle. You can develop a space, looking to play f4 in the future, opening up the king. So if we play a random move, let's say a3, f4 is already completely winning, because if you take, you open up the king, there might be some threats. So Ju Wenjun plays f3, bishop comes back, and e3. There's a connect 4, knight goes back, e4 comes, further defending the knight. f4 takes. Maybe that weakens the position, and around here, in the commentary, I believe there was, Ju Wenjun slowly losing the position slightly. With the f5 and the bishop becoming solid, I feel that the position is slowly turning into black's favor. And here there's a brilliant move, which is a positional sacrifice of the rook. The knight was stronger than the rook, so Ju Wenjun has to take. And because you take, now there's an open lines, and the queen could reroute in the future. Of course, there's pawns guarding, but I'm saying in the future. Take, and only move is found. Again, only move. And here, Ju Wenjun blunders. This is considered a blunder as the pawn is simply given away for free. You have 3 defenders. Maybe she was thinking about the e6 pawn, but the pawn is lost. And from this position, it's quite difficult to play because the d4 pawn is very strong. The knight could jump somewhere in the future, and you really don't feel the power of that. You have a rook for a bishop. The king unpins. Okay, but the e6 pawn is also running. You know, there's threats of d3, there's threats of e7. Both sides have pawns. d3, rook defense, and the knight jumps in. Now this knight is completely amazing. Now what plan Ju Wenjun has now is to take the knight. When the pawn recaptures, you recapture the queen. You eliminate the pawn and the knight for the cost of your rook. And it makes the most sense. However, your pawn will also fall, and black is not going to give you time to execute this plan. So another bishop is sacrificed. The pawns are not doubled, and the rook, tempo on the rook, and the pawn is lost. Otherwise, the rook would have been taken. So here, black's position is completely winning because this knight is strong, this pawn is strong, the pawn is defended, this bishop is almost immobilized, the queen is more active, the king is weak. We have activating the bishop and training of the queens. This is practical because now the bishop is open, but it's just not enough in the position. We get some piece shuffling. The pawn is defended from queening. g5 is a classy move because now there's no threat of rook takes f4 and tempo on the bishop. And Anna Muzychuk just brings her king forwards. The idea is to bring her king forward, kick out the bishop, and then you can also storm the pawns. You can pick up the remaining pawns. And we can see how this is beautifully played out. The pawns are exchanged. And slowly but surely, black picks off the remaining pawns. And this game is going completely for a Anna win. Rooks are traded. And basically, white's only hope is the h-pawn now and the time trouble. You know, there's under a minute remaining. Anything can still happen. The bishop allows the pawn to move forwards. And here Anna calculates for a little bit and sacrifices her bishop. Another potential brilliant move. Because at the end of the day, you're going to trade this bishop for the knight. This pawn's going to be lost. This pawn's going to... Maybe this pawn's going to be lost. These pawns are going to promote. A few moves are shuffled. And nothing can be done. And in this position, Ju Wenjun resigns. So this means that now Anna is in a sole first place. And tomorrow will be a very interesting round.